Morning, coaches. Welcome again to our fall flag football season. We really appreciate you coaching, and we're looking forward to having some good games this fall, and we can't do what we do without you. Voice is a little bad this morning, so just bear with me. Season's going to begin on September 10th. Payment's going to be due August 24th. All right, guys, remember the roster maximum is 14 players. If you choose to, if you have some other kids you want on your team, we'll allow that, and we'll contact you on the possibility of adding those players, but we won't force you to take more than 14 players. The equipment will be due back by October 21st, so please get all that equipment back to us as quick as possible. Once you get your roster, please call every player before you start texting your team or having a group message. Make sure you're talking to them personally and we're on the same page. They know you're their coach and what the plan is for practice. Every time we add a player to your roster, we will send you an updated roster, so please keep an eye on your email. We'll keep updating your roster as we go along and add more players. If you can't contact a player that's been placed on your roster, please call us and we might have an alternative number and we can help you get in contact with that parent. That way they're not missing out on practices and not knowing that they're on your team. We're going to furnish on the equipment. We're going to furnish all your flags and your flag belts. We're going to furnish your practice and your game balls. The kindergarten through third grade will use your peewee size balls. Fourth through eighth grade will use your junior size balls. Please return, once again, all this equipment needs to be returned immediately after the season. You have to wear your Kids Inc. shirts tucked in. Make sure you're wearing your belt outside, so that way you can't pin them down, can't sew them on, can't be tied up. You got to let them be open where they can pull them. Only tennis shoes or rubber cleats are allowed. Metal spikes are not permitted at all. And you cannot wear any hats during the games. Let's make sure we're not having hats on. And no hard or plaster casts are permitted to play in. You must have a minimum of 7 players to begin a game and no less than 6 players after the start of the game. If you start with 7 and a kid gets hurt or sick or something, then you can finish that game. Now, we did play some games last year, 5-on-5, and that's going to be on the discretion of the coaches and the referees. If there's some emergency and you're short players and we have 5-on-5, I will allow them to play that game, but let's try to at least have 7 players to begin the game. Every player will play a maximum of 6 plays per half. So they should play 12 plays a game and 6 per half. And you must allow 4 different players to carry the ball during the game. Let's not have one kid carrying all the ball, catching all the passes. You have to have at least 4 players carry the ball during the game. Each game is going to be 10-minute quarters, or if you get with the refs and the other coach and you decide to do a 20-minute running half instead of 4 10-minute running quarters, that's fine too. You just get with the referee and the other coach. Halftime is going to be 5 minutes, and each team you're going to be able to have 2 1-minute timeouts per half. If you don't use them per half, you cannot carry those over. So you only get 2 per half either way. If you don't use them or you do use them. The officials can stop the clock on their discretion. If a kid gets hurt, sick, or something happens to that nature, yes, he can stop the clock. We're not going to be stopping the clock if there's arguments or any discussion going on about a call. A 2-minute warning will be given before halftime, but the clock will not stop at 2 minutes, but they will let you know when there's 2 minutes left. Game time is forfeit time. Let's be on time. Get the game started. If we get behind one game, we're going to be behind the rest of the day. So make sure you're there on time. We appreciate you helping us out on that. And both teams will be on opposite sidelines. Let's not share a same sideline. If we do play on any turf or anything, make sure there's no lawn chairs on that turf. Touchdowns are going to be worth 6 points. Ball is put in play at the 13-yard line for the extra point attempt. Won't we do any extra point field goal kicks or anything like that? If you run the ball in for the extra point, it's going to be 1 point. If you throw the ball on the extra point, it's going to be 2 points. A safety is going to be 2 points. If the offense is doing an extra point attempt, defense intercepts or recovers the fumble and returns it, it will be worth 2 points. So our playing field is 40 yards wide and 80 yards long. We'll have some pylons out there measuring that off for you guys. There'll be a 30-second play clock that begins once the official whistles the ball. And as in all flag football, first down will be the next line to gain or 20 yards. Charging is not going to be allowed. All these rules here are in this packet. You can't charge a player. You're not going to be able to, there's no kickoffs, no punts. And the ball is dead when the ball carrier's flag is pulled or the ball is fumbled, hits the ground. Once the ball hits the ground, you cannot return that. So make sure when the ball hits the ground, know that the ball is dead. All right, remember on offense, coaches, you must have at least a minimum of 3 players on the line of scrimmage. And on the defense, you must have a minimum of 3 players on the line of scrimmage. And the defensive lineman must be at least 1 yard off the line of scrimmage at the snap. Linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties must be 3 yards off the line of scrimmage at the snap. The defense cannot intentionally attempt to cause the offense to jump or false start. And that will be kind of a judgment call by the referee if they're doing that. So let's make sure we're not doing that. You can only have 1 offensive player in motion at a time. Shield, screen blocking is the only blocking allowed. You cannot block below the waist. Once the defender passes the blocker must let the defender go and stop moving after him. You cannot move with him and keep on trying to block him. You cannot block downfield once the ball carrier passes the line of scrimmage. And a player must have 1 foot in bounds when making a catch. Incomplete pass by the line of scrimmage is a fumble, and the play is dead at the spot of incompletion. A direct handoff, toss, or toss pitch behind the line of scrimmage is legal. The player who takes the handoff, toss, or pitch can throw the ball as long as they do not pass the line of scrimmage. Spinning is allowed, but this is important because we had some of this during the spring. Players cannot leave their feet and attempt to avoid the defensive player. So let's not be jumping or trying to jump over players or jump off of somebody trying to pull your flag. 2 players must begin their rush from outside the shoulder of the offensive tackle position at least 1 yard off the line of scrimmage. Players not rushing the quarterback may defend the line of scrimmage. Once the ball is handed off, all defenders may rush the ball carrier. If the quarterback decides to run or pass and is outside the tackles, the entire defense may rush. So if he's in the pocket, you have to stay by the rules on the rush, but if he goes outside that pocket, the entire defense can rush. If the quarterback moves toward the line of scrimmage, all defenders may rush. So if the quarterback becomes a ball carrier, you can rush in. If the quarterback goes back to pass while inside the tackles, only the 2 designated rushers may rush. All penalties, your 5-yard penalties, of course, will be your false starts or illegal blocking, downfield blocking, charging, flag guarding. If a shirt is hanging over the flag belt, a flag guarding penalty would be called. That's why it's important to keep your shirts tucked in, because if they're hanging out, that'll be a penalty. Illegal forward pass, pass interference, leaving feet to avoid a tackle, or delay of game. That's all your 5-yard offensive penalties. Your 5-yard defensive penalties include offsides, illegal rush, charging, leaving feet to dive for a flag. And your unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, coaches, players, and fans. The first offense will be a 15-yard penalty and automatic first down. The second offense will be a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down, and the coach, player, fan will be asked to leave the playing area. Individuals ejected from the game will be contacted by our offense, and it's probably not have to take another step on that. This is for the kids. We shouldn't be getting kicked out of games and having confrontations out there among coaches. During the spring, we had a few games where coaches were having some confrontation and some arguments with each other. That is not to happen. If there's something going on in a game and you feel like you need to address it, please wait till after the game, and my referee and both coaches, we can talk about it afterwards. But let's not be out on the field in front of the kids and having confrontations and turning into almost physical stuff going on out there. That is no toleration of that. So please, let's keep in mind that we're here for the kids. So coaches, just make sure that you're controlling your fans, your chain crews, all your spectators, your parents. Ensure your minimum playing time is met for all your players. All these kids are in it to play, so make sure that you get at least the minimum playing time for all your players. Another important thing that really happened a lot this spring, we had coaches that were working practices, assistant coaches, should I say, and on the games and the sidelines working with the kids. We have to have background checks on anyone working directly with the kids. So make sure we're getting that turned in. Coaches, that's your head coaches, that's your responsibility to have those assistants listed on your roster with background checks. Another thing, coaches, we cannot, if you're short players, we cannot pull kids off the sideline to play with your team. They do not have a waiver signed. They are not paid. They do not have, we have no record of them in our system on your team. So that is a no. Do not do that. No kids can come play on your team that are not listed on your team, signed the waiver, or is registered with Kids Inc. So during the huddle, a coach can be in your huddle, but once that huddle breaks, make sure you're 10 yards behind the play and not interfering. One defensive coach may line the defense up, but once the huddle break, coaches must step toward the sideline. Let's get out of the way, not back in the back, but move out of the way so you're not interfering. And we already kind of covered this a little bit, but the code of conduct, make sure we're not using any obscene, abusive, degrading language out there on the field to the kids, to the refs, to the parents, anything. And any act of, like, if there's any physical confrontation or anything like that, it could be a result in a head coach or a parent, assistant coach, being suspended indefinitely. And the last thing we want is for parents and kids not to be allowed to be in the program, because we know we can do better than that. Accept the decision of the game officials. It is very hard to find officials in today's world in sports, so let's make sure that we're having respectful conversations with the ref. Of course you can question a call. Let's just do it the right way, and let's not keep it going for the next 30 minutes. If you have a problem with rules being interpreted and it's the whole game thing, please call me the next day. We'll get it straightened out. But let's not have any type of confrontations out there that gets out of hand. I'd really appreciate your help on that. Do not get into anything with the other players, criticizing the other teams, their other players, anything like that. So, coaches, other than that, let's have a great season. I'm not sure if any of our flag football games will be on the turf, but if it is, remember to clean up your trash afterwards. Only water on those fields. No lawn chairs on the turf. There's grass behind the turf. You can put your lawn chairs. We will be playing games at some parks this year, in the fall. So let's just make sure we're on time. And if you have any questions, it's really easy to find out the answers. Call 806-376-5936 and give us a call. There's a lot of staff here that can help you, or call me directly, and I'm available to you guys all the time. So please, criminal history reports, make sure you get those turned in for any assistant coaches. So thanks, have a great season, and look forward to a lot of good games. Thanks.